Meeting today is February 10th, 2026, and the time is 7:07. Jamie, can we have roll call, please?
Yes, Mr. Hunt.
Here.
Here.
Mr. Sabatini.
Here.
Rossi.
Here.
Mrs. Vincent.
Here.
Mrs. Williams.
Here.
Can we please stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we begin, please note this meeting is being live streamed and recorded. There are 2 cameras in use this evening, one focused on the Board of Education and another one that may be used during public commentary or presentations. By participating in this meeting, you acknowledge that you may be captured on video. As a reminder, if you wish to address the board during public commentary, please make sure you fill out one of the forms that's on that table with the red cloth back there and handle it into Jamie, our administrative assistant here at the end. Superintendent Shaw, are there any additions or deletions to the agenda this evening?
There are none tonight, sir.
Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I move that we approve the agenda as stated.
Do we have support?
Support.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Jamie, can we have roll call, please?
Yes, Ms. Myers.
Yes.
Mr. Sabatini.
Yes.
Mrs. Trossi.
Yes.
Mrs. Vincent.
Yes.
Mrs. Williams.
Yes.
Mr. Hunt.
Yes, and the motion carries. Superintendent Shaw?
All right. So my first set of comments, which I will not be commenting on, but I do get to introduce Mrs. Tedora, who has some guests with us tonight. And so this is for our middle school. So here we go.
It is my absolute pleasure to present to you Miss Olivia Charette. She is a first-year Monroe Middle School educator with us. She is our orchestra director at the middle school. She also fulfills a role at the high school as well. So we share Miss Charette at both buildings. And I am going to turn it over to her so she can introduce our performers for this evening.
Good evening. My name is Olivia Charette, and I'm the orchestra director for Monroe Public Schools. I'm here tonight on behalf of the Instrumental Music Department to highlight recent student success at Michigan School Band and Orchestra Solo and Ensemble Festival. We would like to thank the board for the generous allotment of funds for music students in our district. The additional resources this funding provides will expand and improve our department for years to come. On behalf of the students and staff, we are truly grateful. In total, 66 Monroe Band and Orchestra students participated in the event held by the Michigan School Band and Orchestra Association. There were 42 high school events and 18 middle school events. Students performed music solo or as a group and received a rating and feedback from a specialist on their instrument. Tonight you will hear 2 middle school orchestra students, Juliana Blessing Steele and Jovi Hunley, perform a string duet. This ensemble received a first division rating, the highest possible rating. On behalf of the music department, we would like to invite the board and other administrators to our upcoming MSBOA festival performances. At these events, our large ensembles will perform for ratings and comments. We thank the school district for its continued support of these valuable events. On Friday, March 6th, the middle school bands and orchestras, as well as the high school bands, will perform at Woodhaven High School. On Saturday, March 14th, the high school orchestra will perform at Wayne Memorial High School. We would love to see some of you there. Please enjoy the piece we are about to hear. The orchestra students will play 3 Gavottes by James Hook. Thank you so much for this opportunity to share our music with you.
Maybe the mic turns so we can pick that up for people. Yeah.
Beautiful.
So before you go flying out the door, Wendy, where you at? Okay, so make sure we get pictures. Okay. Thank you very much. Oh my goodness, that was spectacular. Great job, everybody. Mr. Dora, thank you for bringing them with us tonight.
My pleasure.
That's it.
Okay. Next is board discussion action items. We have our staffing and contracted service. Oh, you do have public, okay. That's
Yes.
rare, but okay, let's go with public commentary.
Ms. Morelli,
Okay.
I'm not going to go over the 3-minute, 2-minute, 1-minute warning. I'll let you have your time. I'm not even going to put the timer on. I'm confident you're going to be done in 3 minutes.
Thank you. I will honor that time. I'm actually here speaking on behalf of Steve Polizzi this evening. He extends his regret that he couldn't be here. He's home and he's under the weather. But he had some input to give you on the CA grade situation before you make a decision about that this evening. So I'm going to read the letter that he was going to read himself, could he be here. He said, "Thank you for the chance to speak about why Monroe High School should continue to use the CA or credit achieved within our attendance policy. Our staff feedback shows a clear theme. Attendance matters, accountability matters, and CA helps us support students without pushing them out of school. MHS staff overwhelmingly agree that removing the CA would hurt our most vulnerable students. Our semester 1 CA data reinforces this. Among 439 course records, the majority of the CA eligible work was D and C level work when the students fell into that CA status, showing that these are not students that were just coasting. They were students who were struggling academically and needed the structural support to stay engaged. Core subjects of math, history, ELA, and science make up a large share of the courses that were eligible for this grade, meaning that CA is helping students recover credits that would be essential for their graduation progress. Removing the CA would take away one of the few tools keeping these students connected. In past systems without this safety net, attendance actually worsened because students felt there was no path to recover that credit. And staff echoed this strongly in their survey results. The CA also aligns with our trauma-informed, student-centered mission. Hold high expectations while giving students a realistic way to succeed. It keeps them in school, keeps them working, and keeps them moving forward towards graduation progress. For all of these reasons, I strongly urge the board to maintain the CA in our attendance policy. And that was, thank you from Steve Polizzi, the high school principal. As a side note, this comment is from me, Leah Morelli, as the CTE director in the building. Very few of our CTE students end up receiving this. We have, CTE is just different. Students often will come for that part of their day and they will leave before their math or their ELA or their science classes. But I was a science teacher when I was in the classroom, and I lived under a different policy than what we have now, and it was a huge struggle. And it put us in a place where we didn't have enough seats to put students back in to recover those credits because that wasn't an option back then. So I've experienced it both ways, where students lost credit as a result of attendance, which I know isn't legal anymore. We have to come up with a solution to that, right? And I've lived under this policy, and it's been applied much more fairly, and it's been much more helpful because students don't just stop coming to school. They know they can continue to at least earn credit towards graduation under this current policy, and it just gives them some hope in my experience in the building.
Any, that's all we have?
I think you have some for second.
Okay, thank you. Now we will go to action items, our staffing and contracted services report. Is there any discussion from board members on those two reports? Hearing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Are there any items that the board members would like to have moved off the consent agenda and moved over to new business? Hearing none, can I get a motion to support or approve items in B2A as a consent agenda?
I move that the agenda item B2A be considered as a consent agenda and that consent agenda items be approved as recommended.
Do we have support?
Support.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Jamie, can we have roll call, please?
Yes, Mr. Sabatini,
Yes.
Mrs. Trotter,
Yes.
Mrs. Vincent,
Yes.
Mrs. Williams.
Yes.
Ms. Myers,
Yes.
Mr. Heck.
Yes, and the motion carries. Before we move into new business, I want to provide some background context. All of our items on our agenda have either been discussed in depth at a prior work session, such as last night or before today's board session, or have been addressed in our weekly board briefs. So though it might seem we move quickly through some of these agenda items, we want the public to know that we have thoroughly discussed and done our due diligence on these agenda items. As a reminder, our work sessions are open to the public and are also now live streamed. Next, I'll turn it over to Mrs. Shook for the adoption of the amended 2025-2026 budgets for general food service, student school activity, 2020 bond demp, sinking, building, and site, and the 2020-2023 bond capital project funds.
Thank you, President Hack. Tonight, we are asking the board to move to adopt the amended 2025-2026 budgets for the general, food service, student school activity, 2020 bond debt, sinking, building and site, and 2020-2023 bond capital projects funds as presented.
Can I get a motion?
I think none of us want to make the motion because I don't want to repeat that whole thing. But I guess I got the short straw. Everybody was looking, so, all right. I move to adopt the amended 2025-2026 budgets for the general food service, student school activity, 2020 bond debt, sinking, building, and site, and 2020-2023 bond capital project funds as presented.
Do we have support?
Support.
Discussion? Any board members have discussion?
So I just want to bring up a few points. Last night, when we went over the proposed budget, we did not review all of the items that are in tonight's packet. We reviewed the high level, and we didn't review all of these other items. During that discussion, I said that we talked about a review of our expenditures and what we want to do moving forward. It was indicated that, Andy, you said it was going to be like March 9th?
Yes.
It's going to be on March 9th, and that's when we'll have to look and see what kind of decisions we need to make for the ongoing usage of funds. But at the same time, we're now going to approve these budgeted items without having that conversation. And last night, all I could think of is when I thought about it, I'm like, why don't we take the time to go over the full budget? You know, because we didn't go over the full budget. We went over the sinking fund, the general funds. We went over the bond projects and those big ins and outs, but we didn't look at the expenditures broke down as they are.
I believe before I started my presentation, Mr. Shaw indicated to the board that all those resolutions were present in your packet last night.
They were,
My-
but they were for tonight's meeting, and you said tomorrow night's board packet is in your packet for tomorrow night. So I put it in there and said, okay, cool. I took it home and said, oh, now I see why you gave it to me, so I can look at this stuff. And then I thought, well, it doesn't leave time to discuss that stuff. We're going to approve it and
My-
it's done.
My presentation last night for the budget amendment has not been different from any other amendment presentation. I presented it the same way in the years that I've held this position.
But our financial situation is different. So therefore, we can't do things the way we did them before. And we've discussed taking a deeper look at, fiscal responsibility of the board. And so this would be step one of that new change going forward. I'm not putting you in a spot, I'm just
But you
saying.
are, though.
Well, it's true. We didn't get that. It was mentioned last night, but we didn't review anything.
And so,
I'm looking at you because you gave the presentation. I'm
Right,
talking
and
Andy.
I am struggling with that we didn't review anything because I went through 11 slides of information.
I didn't.
And I
We
did,
did review
So-
high-level stuff.
are you asking me a question and going to give me the opportunity to speak and complete a sentence?
go ahead.
Or did you have more that you wanted to request before I respond? I just want to have the expectation of whether you would like me to continue or if you would like to continue and for me to respond.
Cassie, please continue.
I went through 11 slides of information. I went through revenues and expenditures of all the funds. There was no questions on actually, there was questions on the other funds, and I answered plenty of questions last night. So if there was additional information that you wanted at that time, I'm struggling now with bringing it up now when there was an opportunity for discussion last night. And the identification with the state that you're referring to is solely the general fund. There's not been any identification for any of the other funds. So when you say the financial situation, the identification with the state is only on the general fund. There's not been an identification of the other funds. And the general fund was discussed thoroughly last night.
So all of this we have tonight, I would have liked in last night's packet. So when we sat down, all the questions we had for you were based on the 11 slides that you provided on the amended budget. And then I specifically asked about the breakdown and how do we go forward. And Andy said, we'll discuss that on March 9th. And then I went home and I'm looking at all this and I'm like, well, if we're making a decision on this now, March 9th cannot possibly even take effect until sometime next year. And so, we leave ourselves, where we're at. So that was the point is.
and that's why last night I did mention that we have already put the district on a freeze when it comes to all expenditures, and that everything has to be approved at the executive level. We've met with our administrators today to go over that exact item. When it comes to any future hiring, it's only if it's a very key position, for example, a special education teacher, because we have some shortages there. But everything else, when we mentioned March 9th is about looking at all the changes we have to make to reduce next year's budget by $4 to $5 million. That's what March 9th is. And that's why I made that statement. It's like March 9th, that's that date here.
So we don't need to make any changes in this current budget to accommodate any of that. We can just bump all of that to next year.
So what will happen right now is with what Cassie what was presented last night, and we had shared was that this budget right now on general fund would show us, and I can't put my finger right on it. I know it's like 1.3 million dollars left in general fund as a fund balance. It was mentioned last night that if we ended the budget as of that very moment, we know that zeroing out of our line items will add $1 to $1.3 million to that fund balance. So if everything ended at this very moment in time, our district would end right at about $2.5 million. That's why we put everything on a freeze. Our goal is to even get higher. So we know where that's going to end. Now, we also know that we said that we have to budget for next year, 0 increases. We have to budget at a reduction of expenditures by $4 to $5 million. So that's what that March 9th date is about there.
Yeah, so that leads me to the motion on the table. So based on your description here, what we approved tonight is not going to impact anything that we need to do to make adjustments next year. It's a question.
What you're approving tonight is only the amended budget for the 2025-26 school year.
I just want to confirm that. I don't want to get down the road and be like, hey, you had all that information, you approved
ma'am.
all that, you know, so I just want to make sure that we're clear on where we're at, where we stand, and that when we approve this, we're not doing anything that's going to cause a bigger problem for our,
Not for the 26, 27.
No,
Okay.
that has not
That's
been,
March- that's
I
the
don't have
March
enough.
9th discussion.
okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for the clarification.
Any other discussion? Hearing none. Jamie, can we have roll call, please?
Yes, Mrs. Taurasi,
Yes.
Mrs. Vincent,
Yes.
Mrs. Williams.
Yes.
Ms. Myers.
Yes.
Mr. Sabatini,
Yes.
Mr. Heck.
Yes, and the motion carries.
All right, so our next item is a CA credit awarded discussion. From our last workshop, through that conversation, we knew that we needed to put this on as a new business item. So tonight, it's an item for discussion, and so at this point, I want to really turn it over to our board members. I know Leah shared Steve's position on this from the high school side of it. I know we've had a lot of conversations around this over a couple of work sessions, so it's now on a board agenda for conversation.
So open it up to discussion, or if someone wants to make a motion, that is also allowed.
So I'd like to make a motion. I move that Monroe Public Schools will separate attendance and grades, therefore eliminating the need for credit awarded CAs for the 26-27 school year. Data and outcomes to be evaluated and presented to the board halfway upon completion of the school year for future determination.
Do we have support?
I'll support.
Open it up for discussion?
So we hear, and I heard you, Leah, and I wrote down some of the stuff that you had said. And you're right. The merit curriculum says we cannot attach attendance to grades. And so and we hear all the time that the impact of attendance on grades is very strong. It's like it impacts it a lot. And we've heard it, and we're like, okay, we got to do something about attendance, and we got to do something about grades. We've had curriculum changes and stuff, and intervention and all this stuff to address grades, but where are we at with attendance? So the intent is to offer an opportunity for the school to look deeply at their attendance and deal with attendance as attendance and take those needs for whatever that is, and then let the students and the teachers and everybody focus on grades, because CAs were never attended and to be a credit recovery. You're not recovering anything. The only way you would have to recover a credit is because grades took that credit away. Attendance took that credit away. So attendance doesn't have anything to do with grades. You're not losing anything. You don't need to recover anything. What you need to do is you need to come to school, you need to work with your teachers, and you need to succeed. So it's a 1-year set is what we're looking at. And, its hope is that attendance can be dealt with and grades can be dealt with, and they're not intertwined.
Any additional discussion?
I really think that what was presented in in public commentary earlier really should be considered, because that's reflective not just of the administration, but of the staff that are working with these students. So I think that's important context to take into consideration, because they're the folks that are working with these students and their families in the best interest of moving those students forward. So I don't think that the CA is necessarily just a conceptual thing that we should get rid of. I think it's more than that, because it can be used as a tool to support student success. And I know that it might not fit within what would be like our paradigm of what we see as like the best report card and what the best report card would look like. However, what we would want on our report card and how we would want our student or our own academic career to look like, that might not support a different person's trajectory. That might not support a different student's story. So I guess I just don't see a strong enough argument for getting rid of a system that's supporting our students as it exists, and it's promoting flexibility to meet students where they are.
Could I ask a question? Darla, to your point about, you said that the Michigan merit, I think the difference that I'm seeing in what I heard you say is that the Michigan merit curriculum says that we cannot take away credit based on attendance.
Great.
Credit. That's what the Michigan merit says.
Okay.
So what Monroe High is doing is not going against the Michigan merit curriculum. It is holding students accountable in a different mechanism than credit. So not grades is my point. However, big or little, I thought that was big enough to point out.
And I appreciate all that, but the only reason CAs are necessary is because attendance is attached to them. And so all of the stuff that you do, like, it's not like anybody saying that can't still be done. It's just saying the attendance is not going to be the factor that's going to cause students to get a CA. You know what I mean? Let them go and work and get the grade, because the current structure is right now, if you hurt a perimeter, you can no longer get an A. You now have to go through the CA, and you get a D minus in order to get the credit. Did I explain that correctly? What we're suggesting, or I'm suggesting, is that let attendance be attendance and let the students get their grade. And let them get the grade that they worked hard at, apply all those interventions, apply of those things. No one's stopping anybody from getting a grade. No one's stopping anybody from getting a credit. They are now totally separate. And to me, I don't see a negative side, because nobody's taking anything away. We're just separating the two so that attendance doesn't affect grades.
I think that everything is intertwined, and you can't separate the two. And Monroe High has brought forward that attendance has suffered without the CA. Attendance will suffer without the CA. So I don't see approving that motion helping. I see it doing harm.
Well, because we've sat here, and I've sat here for 3 years now, and whenever we go over grades, one of the biggest factors we hear is attendance. Attendance affects grades. Attendance affects grades. Attendance is the reason. Attendance is, we hear it all the time. And so when we started looking into truancy, we started looking into attendance, we started looking at absenteeism. I mean, we really did take a deep dive looking into all of this, and it's no, yes, attendance affects grades, because if you don't come to school, you don't probably do well in the class. But we have an attendance policy that can be enforced along with the truancy with our prosecutors team in order to address those things and let the grades be the grade. Let the kids get the grade that they're going to get. So that's a suggestion, and that's what I put forward.
If I might, I want to just make one comment that may help here, either direction. As a school system, we always, we have lots of opportunities to hear complaints and to solve problems. We solve a lot of problems in a given day. I specifically asked Steve during one presentation the number of complaints we have had from parents in regards to the CAs. And he's like, we don't get them. There's none. It's very much opposite. So we're trying to address a problem that parents have not brought to us and viewed to be a problem.
That is one-sided.
Right, but I'm just saying the kids that receive a CA go through this, I would expect that if parents have a problem with it, they're going to voice their problem, because parents don't hold back when it comes to voicing problems.
So we've had no parents in the case of somebody who gets a CA, but the kid did, let's say, B-level work, but he's going to get a D
He's gonna get a
minus.
D minus.
And we've had no parents
And
complain?
that was my direct question to Steve,
Aren't they generally C and D students that fall into?
No, it
We
is.
get that C and D anyway.
13.7% are A students that receive a CA based on attendance, 23% for B, 24% for C, and 38% for D.
Let them get the grade that they've earned. Let them, let all of them get those grades that they've earned, because the only reason they don't earn those grades is because attendance is connected to it.
No, what he's alluding to is that a student that received a CA, 13% of the population had A's.
I know that. Yeah.
That was stated.
That is
Yeah.
true.
Let them
Um,
get the grades that they
You know,
earn.
but to say that the CA doesn't or wouldn't help attendance when Mr. Polizzi provided data that he received so far 50 student emails saying, this is what happened to me today. Can you please excuse my absence? Because they don't want to fall into that category. So we're seeing CAs, but what about the CA that prevents students from getting a CA? We don't see that data. But if every assistant principal or Mr. Polizzi is receiving 50 emails thus far this year, it is preventing students from missing school. The CA is keeping students in school.
What was
because-
interesting in the emails that he shared was the students had missed school and they were saying, please change it from an unexcused to an excuse. So it didn't make them come to school. They weren't staying in school and asking for something. They literally missed the day. So deal with that from an attendance standpoint and address that from an attendance standpoint. So that's what I was surprised when we got those emails, because I'm like, okay, but the emails were all asking him to change their protocol, but they missed the day.
Did you read why they missed the day? I thought that was pretty significant.
So there are ways that we have to structure things, and when it comes to attendance, the ambiguity in the line doesn't help the process. And we've talked about that many times. There's the 10 cutoff, but the 10 cutoff can add on 25 of excused, or the 10 cutoff becomes ambiguous when they weren't excused and now all of a sudden they are excused because someone was sympathetic to something else. And I'm not saying we shouldn't be sympathetic to the needs. I'm just saying let their grades be their grades. Let them get the grades they want to get and deal with those attendance things in an attendance capacity.
Okay. Other board members? Carrie, Brian? Stacy? No? Hearing none, Jamie, can we have roll call?
Yes, Mrs. Trossi,
Yes.
Mrs. Vincent,
No.
Mrs. Williams,
No.
Miss Myers,
Yes.
Mr. Sabatini,
Yes.
Mr. Heck.
Yes, the motion carries.
All right.
Next,
old business.
that's all the new business. Now we'll go into old business.
All right, so in old business, we have two items for you. First one is transportation discussion. And so that is still staying on our agenda so that we can answer any questions the board may have. We did meet with two companies last week and vendors, and so they are working on getting us quotes. And based on that, it's our expectation that we should be able to bring something to you as a possible recommendation at our next board meeting.
These would be for gas buses.
These will be, so when we met with them, we actually spoke specifically about gas and diesel. And one of the vendors has a white paper to go over, to share with us why a diesel bus actually is the most economical one compared to a gas. Because we specifically asked those questions. And so they go, we've done a lot of studies on this, and we have a white paper that actually show you from the building of the bus to the running of the bus, why a diesel bus is still the number one bus. The other part being too is both companies, the buses aren't even rebuilt yet. They're still trying to fix and make it work. So
where are we at with the times on
the two new buses, I don't. Yeah, you're gonna
I
have data.
just received an update from Ms. Maurice today. The two buses are anticipated to be delivered before the end of the month. She's still waiting on the finalized date from Midwest Transit, but they provided me the information to be able to issue a check to have on hand for when, because they need it at the time that they are
We'll
delivering the
lock that
buses.
down again even further
Yeah,
tomorrow,
she-
because we were expecting that, not this Friday, but beginning of this next week that bus, based off last week's meeting with them.
Yeah,
those
she's-
two buses should be rolling in the door.
How are those long-term routes doing, the over 2 hour?
So that's when those two buses arrive.
So we're still holding where we're at?
Yes,
The
when those
kids
two
are
buses
still?
come in. We do have enough drivers, trained and ready to go, so when those two buses arrive, they'll be able to hop right on. And she's already made the adjustments, and she's ready for that. But in board briefs, we'll just clarify and get a hard date on when those buses will be arriving.
Arriving, and then David's crew has to do some work on those as well?
And they will, but it won't stop us. Those buses will roll out that next morning, cameras or no cameras, go, and then midday, they'll work on them. They're done, great. If not, they're gonna roll in the afternoon.
Okay, good. Thank you.
And then the state fiscal monitoring update, that one will happen at the next board meeting, because there won't be another update until 2 weeks from now.
Okay. That completes old business. I'll turn it over to Superintendent Shaw for his second set of
All right,
comments.
thank you very much, sir. Tomorrow is our second count day of the school year. It is our spring count day. And so we are really hoping that all of our students come tomorrow. With it being a nice weather, that may have a good opportunity there. Winter break is this coming Friday, Monday, with no students here. National Honor Society inductions. Monroe High School will hold the National Honor Society inductions on Wednesday, February 18th at 7 p.m. in the high school auditorium, inducting 61 new members. Also, our eighth graders are touring Monroe High School by student teams during February. Eighth graders and their families will also have an opportunity to learn more about academic opportunities, career tech education, and extracurricular activities at the open house on March the 5th. And then, as a reminder, our Moonlight Masquerade for our gala, for the work we do on kindness, is on Friday, March 13th, from 6 to 10 at the River Raisin Banquet Center. And that's all I have to say, sir.
Okay. Public commentary, any subject? Brian, do we have any?
Yes, we do. Yvonne, you're ready? Come on up. I'm going to trust you like I trusted Miss Morelli. Don't prove me wrong, okay?
I don't know, I got a
Don't
couple
prove me
things
wrong.
here, so
Don't
I'll
prove
try
me wrong. Don't make
I'll
me
try
start
to
my
talk
timer.
fast.
All right.
Okay, first, I'm just curious, how many students are currently enrolled in the whole district and how many at the high school? Ballpark's fine.
300 and
Yeah, it's,
like 79. I'm close.
yeah.
379 at the high school?
No.
There's like 4,300.
I will call you tomorrow
Okay.
with the accurate number.
Okay, 4,000 something and,
And then
Okay.
1,000 some odd for high school.
and that was a very nice presentation earlier and last night. I think maybe Andrea answered this question, but I'm not sure. Does the new reading curriculum carry into the middle school? Do they have the same thing or is there something
It's a
different?
K-5 program.
Okay. Oh, you are, okay. Okay, and if I don't write the answers, I'll forget them. And were there any kind of repercussions from yesterday's high school walkout? Will there be any extra lessons or discussions in maybe a history or civics class? And do we teach the Constitution at a certain grade level? Does that come into a U.S. history class?
We will call you tomorrow with that.
Okay. And what else? And also, do we know if any kids who didn't walk out are being bullied? Maybe that's not the right word. Criticized by the students who did? And do we know, did any, like, whole classrooms walk out, or was it a couple from here and a couple from there? Just general information.
Okay, board, I will take this one right here, so that way it can just be addressed. I couldn't tell you if it was a classroom, there was students organized themselves, and then they end up walking out, so I don't know if it's classrooms or not. But I do know is that when I went by classrooms, teachers were teaching and students were learning. I will also say that one of the takeaways that we can smile on this year is because of our cell phone policy in our district, kids may have been on cell phones outside on their time, but when it came to the classroom, prior years, kids would have still been engaged with whatever was happening from the outside. This year, they weren't because their cell phones were not out.
Well, that's
And
good.
so that was a big positive there. But as far as any kind of pushback from students to each other, that would be for Mr. Polizzi and his team to answer. I don't know that.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yvonne.
That is it for public commentary.
That's it? Okay, thank you. Board member commentary. Board member comments. Brian, you want to start us if you have anything?
I think I'm good.
Okay, Carrie?
Boys have a swim meet, senior night, Thursday night, 6 p.m.
Oh,
It's our, we only got 2 home meets this year, so this is one.
I hate to ask, but I hope Erin will be there.
I'm assuming she just sent out the
Okay.
information for the meet.
Okay.
That was the ding ding you just heard.
Okay.
Do Stacy first or me?
All right. We'll go to Mary.
Question, when our 8th graders tour Monroe High School, do 8th graders have an option to visit Orchard? And discussions of virtual ? And then also, I'm just thrilled that we got to have instrumentalists here tonight because as a former music teacher, it makes my heart sing. So thank you for that.
And yes, people were shaking, our staff was shaking their heads about visiting Orchard.
Students, one group went last week, one group goes on Thursday, the third team goes next Thursday. And then they do have an option, we do take a group of kids that are interested in Orchard, over to Orchard. And they have an option as a checkoff, if they think they are interested in virtual, they have that option, that they're informed about all of it.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Stacy?
So the walkout wasn't considered on school time? So the students that had their cell phones in the parking lot, there wasn't a cell phone violation?
So when the students walked out, that's now, they've exited the building, that's on their time, because they're not a part of the inside the building, not part of what's going on instructionally at that point.
Charlie, anything?
Yeah, I just want to further up, and someone mentioned they're doing a pilot on something. There's many times in the education system and the years that I've sat here and the years I've sat out there that programs have been piloted, that ideas have been brought up, and some things work great. I think the pay to play is an example. It was a great thing to do. It helped engage more kids, and it really helped families. And so when pilot stuff, it is the idea to let's try something we haven't tried before. Let's try something that hopefully may do something. So that's how I look at this. That's why it was put down for the 1 year, is to look and see maybe it'll work. And my hope and prayer is just like I hope Envision works. I hope this works as well.
Okay. And to wrap it up, Mary was kind enough to let me know that Governor Whitmer has signed the statewide cell phone bill ban. Obviously, we'll have to see if we have any discrepancies with our current plan.
Already done.
Okay, very good, thank you. So that ends board comments. Next on our agenda is closed session. Do we have a request to go into closed session?
I move that we go into closed session.
Do we have support?
Support.
Any discussion? Jamie, can we have roll call, please?
Yes, before I give roll call, could we read why we're going
Oh,
into closed session?
I
for the
certainly-
public?
Okay, so we're going to go into convene in closed session per MCL section 15.268, section K, for a school board to consider security planning to address existing threats or prevent potential threats to the safety of the students and the staff.
Thank you for that. Mrs. Myers,
Yes.
Mr. Sabatini,
Yes.
Mrs. Tarasi,
Yes.
Mrs. Vincent,
Yes.
Mrs. Williams.
Yes.
Mr. Hack.
Yes, and the motion carries. When the doors close, we will be in closed session, and the time is 7:52 p.m.
Thank you.